Have you ever reached a point in life where it feels like everything is already gone? The job did not work out, the relationship ended, your plans collapsed, and suddenly you are standing in the middle of your life thinking, well, what now? Most people see this moment as the lowest point of life. But what if it's actually the most powerful place you can be? Because think about it for a second. When you truly feel like you have nothing left to lose, something strange happens. Fear starts losing its grip on you. You are no longer protecting a perfect image. You are no longer desperately trying to maintain a life that already fell apart. And that changes everything. Most people live their lives inside invisible cages made of fear. Fear of embarrassment, failure, judgment, fear of disappointing others. So they play it safe. They stay in jobs they hate. They silence their real opinions. They avoid chasing dreams that feel too big. Not because they cannot do those things, but because they are terrified of losing what they already have, their reputation, their comfort, their sense of control. But when life strips those things away, something unexpected happens. You become free. Now I know that sounds strange because when you are in that place, when everything feels broken, freedom is the last word you would use to describe it. It feels like loss, failure. It feels like you are behind everyone else. But psychologically speaking, this moment is incredibly powerful because the biggest thing that stops human beings from changing their lives is attachment. Attachment to how things are supposed to look, attachment to other people's expectations, attachment to the story you have been telling yourself about who you are. And when those attachments break, you get a rare opportunity. You get to start again, not the version of starting again where you try to rebuild the exact same life, but the kind where you can finally ask yourself a dangerous question. If I was not afraid, what would I actually do? Would you start creating content online? Would you move somewhere new? Would you finally pursue that career that everyone told you was unrealistic? Would you speak your truth instead of constantly filtering yourself? When you feel like you have nothing, you suddenly stop negotiating with fear, and that's when courage begins to show up. Not the loud, heroic kind you see in movies, but the quiet kind, the kind that whispers, just try. But here is something important that people rarely talk about. Having nothing to lose does not mean you stop caring about life. It means you finally stop being controlled by fear. Because when you hit a point where things already feel broken, you realize something powerful. You survived it. The worst thing you imagined happening already happened. And yet, here you are, still breathing, still thinking, still capable of building something new. Psychologists often say that humans are far more resilient than they believe. But most people never discover that resilience because they spend their entire lives trying to avoid discomfort, avoid risk, avoid embarrassment and failure. But when you feel like you have nothing left to protect, you become someone different. You start trying things you would have never dared before. You apply for opportunities you once thought were out of your league. You speak more honestly. You stop shrinking yourself just to make other people comfortable. And strangely, this is often the moment where life begins to shift, not instantly, or magically, or slowly. Because when you stop acting out of fear, your decisions change. And when your decisions change, your life starts moving in a new direction. Think about some of the most courageous people you have ever heard about. Many of them did not start from comfort. They started from rock bottom, from rejection, loss, from moments where they felt like they had already failed. And that's exactly why they became fearless. Because once you have fallen, the fear of falling disappears. So, if you are in that place right now, where things feel uncertain, where life feels messy, where it seems like you are starting over while everyone else is moving ahead, I want you to remember something. This moment may feel like the end of something, but psychologically, it's often the beginning of personal freedom. Because when you truly feel like you have nothing to lose, you finally gain the one thing most people never experience: permission. Permission to try, to fail, to reinvent yourself. And sometimes that's all a human being needs to completely change their life. So if you are standing in that place right now asking yourself, what's there to lose? Maybe the real question is this: what could you finally gain now that fear has nothing left to take from you?